Welcome to the Storyboard podcast. My name is Justin, and my wife Kirby and I created this podcast to talk filmmaking and things that interest us in the creative space. Today's guest is an actor and a composer, and he just so happened to act and compose our last film, Glow. He flew all the way down here from California, and I'm so thankful to have him here with us today. Today's guest is Todd Sapio. Todd, you made it to Texas.
I did. Hi guys, how you doing?
Good. Good to have you here in our house again, where we filmed Glow. What was it, like 7 months ago?
Was it
Yeah,
that
it's
long?
crazy that it's been that long.
Yeah, we filmed it in August, September, October, November, December.
That was August. Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
lots happened.
Yeah.
Man, that's crazy.
insane. Yeah,
But it feels like it was only like a month ago.
It really does.
but it's cool because you were like, we got in the film festival, and you're like, I'm coming down. I'm like, oh, we got to sit down
Yeah.
for a podcast.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. So last week we had, well, I guess it's here now. So we had the film festival today.
Yeah.
And got to screen it. The whole cast and crew was there. It was cool to, except apart from Andreana, she didn't get to show up.
I know.
I know, I
I was
missed
going
her.
to say that earlier. I was like, she's not in our photos, so
Yeah.
we miss you, Andrina.
I know. I wish she was going to be. I want to get her on the podcast too. I'm
Yeah.
trying to get
Yeah.
everyone to get their like point of view of like what it was like to shoot this whole thing. But
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. Thanks for coming in.
Dude, I wouldn't miss it.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you told me that we got in, I was so happy for
like
you guys.
looking for your flight.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I want to go. How
Yeah.
do I make this happen?
Yeah.
So it just
yeah,
worked
we're
out.
super grateful
Yeah.
that you were able to. I mean, that's a trick, especially with like you have a family at home and
Yeah.
work and all that good stuff.
So Todd is a longtime friend of mine. We're talking about it today. We've been friends since like 2009, or we've known each other since like 2009.
Yeah.
Whenever I was an assistant on one of his band's music videos.
Yeah.
And I just went just to
It
help
was
move
like
lights and
intro
everything.
for you into music video.
Yeah, it
world.
was my first music video I've ever been a part of.
Yeah.
And I really don't know how, like, I guess we just like friended each other on Facebook or something and
Yeah.
just kept in touch. But ended up shooting another music video for you later that I actually shot
Right.
at y'all's practice space / house in Austin. And I don't know, it's been one of those relationships that it's like we won't talk for a couple of years and then just like hit each other up. Well, not recently, but like before that. And it's like, oh yeah, just like nothing ever skipped a beat. Like it was.
Yeah.
Well, it's because you guys are so welcoming and kind and like
Aw.
open that it just
Well, you make it
feels
easy.
like that, you know?
Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like our conversations always just flow, and I know you even less than him because I met you like way later.
Did you meet him in Glow? No, you've met him before. Yeah.
but
No, yeah,
still,
we
but
met,
it's
yeah.
always just been like in passing, you
Yeah.
know, like at
Yeah.
a concert or like it hasn't really been. I mean, y'all's relationship was, you know.
Well, were you there
more-
for the video shoot that we did at
No.
Scott's house? You weren't there for that?
No.
No.
So actually, that shoot holds like a really special place in my heart because my dad took me to that shoot, and my dad passed away in 2013. And he supported everything I did. So like whether it was a film or a music video.
Yeah.
So I remember he drove me to Austin. He like helped me load up all my gear.
He's always your number one fan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
That's
then
amazing.
we went to the house. He helped me unload it, and then he left and just like hung around Austin until we
Like,
were
killed
done.
time.
Picked me back up, and it was so cool. So that's why I remember that shoot so well, is because it's like such a core memory for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was just like always so supportive of everything that
Yeah.
you did. And that was like to him, it was just like no different. It's funny because from a kid's perspective, you're like, oh, this is just something I need to do. But you're not thinking, well, what are they going to do while I'm at this?
Oh,
at
yeah,
this
no, I didn't
video?
think about it. I was like-
from the adult's perspective.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
even back. So like you're a musician, I'm a musician.
Mm-hmm.
Like my dad would take. I remember in high school, he would help take all of our band's gear to wherever we're playing, help us unload and everything. I didn't think of anything of it. And I was like, oh yeah, sure, why not? But now looking back, I'm like, man, that's so cool. Like there's
Yeah.
so many people out there that don't have that like relationship. So I'm super thankful of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that shoot alone was one of those that I'll always remember. And I kind of like, I remember being really nervous for it because I'd never done anything on my own. It was like one of my first videos I'd ever done on my own. So I was like, oh, I got to look cool in front of these guys. Like, I don't want them to think I'm a loser.
Yeah.
But I loved it. I think it came out really good.
Yeah, it was great.
And I was like, man, 20, maybe 21 at the time.
Yeah.
It's almost like 15 years ago.
Yeah,
So,
a lot
crazy.
has changed.
That's- yeah, a
Even just
lot has
in like the camera world and
Yeah.
everything's different now.
Yeah.
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 But with your band, y'all did. Sorry, I'm talking so much, but
No,
I'm
I'm
just trying to give like a
listening.
preface
It's
of like who you are to us.
Yeah.
Your band did a really cool short film as a music video, and that was the first time that I ever saw you, I guess, in an acting role.
That was my intro to him. I mean, not in person, but I remember you showing me that film and being like, oh, this is my friend Todd, whatever.
Yeah.
And being like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. But
Yeah.
I don't even think I had met you yet. Yeah.
Oh, really? We hadn't met before?
Maybe
Once?
like I said, maybe
Maybe
in
at, like, a
passing.
show
in
or
passing,
something like
a
that.
show. You
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
came to a show or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Yeah.
And what was it, like 3 songs that y'all strung together or something like
Yeah.
that, and made like a whole short film. And I was like, that's the coolest thing.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing you in it. And I was like, oh man, he's like an actor. Like he's really good at this.
Oh,
and
thanks.
that moment was like, I'm gonna get him in film one day. Like one day, whenever I do it, I want
I
him to
mean,
get in
who
film.
knew?
And
like,
here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who knew what was ahead?
And
So that short was a good example of something that came out of just an idea. So I had one song, Skin and Heart and Lungs, and that was the only one I cared about. I just wanted to make a music video. I remember I went for a run one day and I thought, okay, what is this song like? If I had to put a visual to this song, what would it be? And it was this girl attempting suicide. That was the whole thing. I mean, that's what the song is about. It's like a real experience of a friend who actually did that.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, what if we just turn it into a video? So I reached out to a few friends and we talked about it. And then it turned out to be the DP who shot it, Andrew, said, well, why don't we just make 3? And we had no money. We had no idea how to do it. We had no idea how to tie them together or what other 2 songs we should do.
it looked like y'all had money.
Right?
Yeah.
It looked like
really
we had
good.
money.
Yeah.
And
If I can find it, I'll like overlay it over like this conversation.
Yeah.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
But I'm so proud of that because I produced it, and it was you as a producer, like, you know, you get this whole idea of like doing as much as you can with as little as possible.
Yeah.
You know, we found locations, we sweet talked people
Yeah.
into letting us use
You're
space.
like, what can we get for free?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and it just, because everybody was working on it, was doing it because they loved it, it turned into something really cool that we're all really, even to this day, super proud of. I'll go
Yeah.
back and I'll watch that and I'm like, how the hell?
Like, how do we pull that
How
off?
did we do that?
Yeah.
And it was 2.5 days.
Oh,
we
wow.
shot.
Was that the
whole
same
thing.
one with the heist?
That's the heist.
Yeah.
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 And y'all got in, like, I remember seeing that and seeing like, how did y'all get
I
access to
haven't
this
seen
building?
it in so many years.
To which building?
It was like
Yeah.
it looked
The
like
house?
like a bank or something.
Oh no, it was my mother-in-law's house.
Really?
Yes.
Oh wow! Like it just looks so high budget.
Yeah,
And
because of her
You
house
just
is
use
beautiful.
all of your
Had me
all
We
of your
thought-
resources.
we didn't have an idea, so we thought, okay, what do we have? We have a nice house. We have access to a high-rise apartment. We have we know this alleyway we could shoot in. I know this great space by railroad tracks. Okay, how do we make how do we merge these together? And then my house that I owned at the time, which is where Simon was. He was the baby,
Oh.
my son.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't
Yeah.
even realize that. That's exactly how Cielo was kind of born, like our second short film.
Yeah, the film we did before this.
It was like exactly what you just said. It's like, let's make a list of everything that we have access to for free. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, we can have, you know, a barn. And it can be like the most random things that don't seem like they make any sense together. And it was exactly that. It's like,
Yeah.
how can we string all this together to where it plays out in a story and looks like, oh, they like the inverse. It looks like, oh, we had to just go find these places and pay for them.
It's so much
Yeah.
better to do it backwards that way, because then you know you can make whatever idea you come up with work. And also it gives you limitations. So one of the hardest things that I've found as any kind of artist, whether that's music or whatever, is figuring out how to put everything together in my brain to form one idea. Instead, adding limitations like makes you focus on one thing, because you can't do 100 different things.
Yeah.
So if I know these are the locations I have, these are the people that I have access to, that's all I can do.
You almost it's like
Yeah.
you almost have freedom in parameters.
Yes.
In a
that's
sense.
that's
Yeah.
the way to do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, there's
So
freedom.
anyway.
Freedom in put yourself in a box,
Yeah.
and within that
Yeah.
box, I'm stealing this from Robert Rodriguez. From the
Yeah.
movie. But you put yourself within that box and you're free to do anything
Yeah.
within that box. So it frees you up in that.
Yeah.
100%.
But
Because too much freedom backfires.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
too much budget. I mean, look at Hollywood right now.
Yeah.
Too
I
much
mean,
budget.
Yeah.
It's, when you have everything at your disposal, then it just ruins
too
creativity.
many options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't make you problem solve because you can just solve it with money.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're not thinking of creative. And a lot of these accents, like in Jaws, I'm going way off on tangent, but like in Jaws, how they never showed the shark
Yes.
was because it looked terrible.
Well,
Right.
it didn't
Yeah.
So
work.
just don't show it.
Yeah.
Like as the machine, like the machinery, like didn't work,
Yeah.
and they were like on set, like what are we doing? Like our monster, like the biggest part of the movie doesn't
Yeah.
work. Like it doesn't.
Yeah.
Like,
And that has defined monster movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Monster movies, the best monster movies, you barely ever
You don't
see the monster at
right,
all.
Right.
Yeah.
Attack the Block is really good. I mean,
Yeah.
you see those monsters, but like the idea of them being absent, the blackness of
Yeah.
them, you know,
Yeah.
is like is a great example of
Yeah.
that or whatever. Or It Follows is a really
Yeah.
good example. But anyway,
I mean,
Yeah.
that was inspo for like not really showing the object of glow.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
like, I wanted it to leave it up to the viewer to like kind of interpret what they thought
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah, we went way off, but that, I was
No,
gonna say
it's-
I want to
you brought it
rewatch.
back.
I want to rewatch your
yeah, that short.
the like music video film
yeah, it was so good. And
because at
that's
the time
always,
I had never really seen anyone, maybe even
still-
now, seen anyone doing that. Like
Yeah.
where it's like the song is the story, almost like that's the script. Like
and
the song is
soundtrack-
the script. Yeah.
And the soundtrack to the film.
Yeah.
yes,
Such a good idea.
Yeah.
yeah,
That idea alone, I mean, that thing y'all did alone has inspired so many things that I've done.
Oh,
like, I guess it was just
that's
like,
awesome.
yeah, it was like a pivotal time, I guess, in my
Yeah.
like learning thing. And I don't know, I just thought it was the coolest things. And still to this day, you don't really see any bands doing that
Yeah.
or any musicians doing that, doing a long form, 3 or 4 song. Like, I've always thought it'd be cool to make a whole album.
Yeah.
A
film
movie.
to an
a
album.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just we'll stay off tangent for just a second. There's an album by an artist named Gavin Castleton, and it's called Home, and it's the whole thing is a story of a relationship. They meet, they fall in love, they have sex the first time, they are in a long relationship, and then they break up, and the whole thing is told from the perspective of a zombie apocalypse.
Oh wow.
no way.
It's gut-wrenchingly amazing.
Wow.
Huh.
It, like if you think about it like that,
Yeah.
of a relationship gone bad.
Yeah.
Zombies invade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's telling this whole story in the arc of the album. And then at the end, she comes on and says, it didn't happen like that. There were no zombies or
Oh
anything.
my gosh. Wow. So there's like a twist.
It's a twist. And I've always thought I would love to make a movie about like with this album as like the backdrop. So all that to say,
Yeah.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
And we tried to do something like that, for Threads and
Yeah.
it's cool that it came across.
I mean, I think it was
some aspect.
It affected me, and
Cool.
I think that's success. I always say, for like
That's
it makes an impression on
One
one person.
person.
That's great,
Yeah.
and I still think about that to this day.
Yeah.
And
It's so cool that is what sparked like you wanting to. I mean, you didn't know how long, but one day in the future, put him in a movie. you know?
seeing
Yeah.
that and like
awesome.
thinking, and I think when was that? Probably in
It was
20.
2012, 2013. Yeah, because my
And-
son was 12. We didn't have my daughter yet. So
Yeah.
2012.
And we kind of kept in touch time to time, popped in and
Yeah.
out. But it really wasn't until I think the past like 2 years, whenever I did my last short film. I've always known like, okay, once I start making films, because it took me a long time in life to like actually get the courage to make my first one. It's like, I'm gonna get Todd to be in one. Like he's a really good actor. I remember from that short, he's a really good actor. And you had moved to California. You were in Austin, but then you moved to California, so it was a lot harder to get you down here.
Yeah.
But for
Not
Cielo,
really though. What's funny is like so much of that is like in your head, like
yeah,
the idea.
I mean,
of,
like at the beginning, like for Cielo and stuff, because
Yeah.
I wanted him to be in
Right.
Cielo in the
I
first
remember us
one.
talking about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we just couldn't make it happen because I was on a short time crunch
Yeah.
for that one. But you helped me a lot with the script of that one. Like I
Oh,
remember, like
yeah.
we were going
I
back and
remember
forth,
that.
and you're
Yeah.
giving me ideas for it and everything. And I'm like, I'm gonna get him in one. I'm gonna get him in one. And then,
Yeah.
Do it.
yeah, I came up with the idea for Glow, and you're the first person. I actually wrote it for you. Like,
Oh,
yeah,
dude,
I wrote it with you in
that's
mind.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think I knew that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like writing. That's why the name was Todd. In
Oh,
the
that's
script.
right. The
Yeah.
name of the character.
Yeah, the
And I
original
was
name-
like, come on, man.
Like,
Yeah,
we
I was
gotta
like,
change
no,
the name.
we-
I
can't
want
be
Todd in this. Yeah.
Yeah.
It can't be Todd.
And it,
Yeah.
I mean, that helps.
hate my
Like
name.
when I write, I need like people that I already think of to be in the role and the locations that I can already think of, because kind of like the box idea that you were saying is like, I put myself in that box. I'm like, okay, I have access to a house. I have access to this person. Let me like write something tailored towards them. And
it helps build the character too. Yeah.
And I already knew that. I was like, okay, we got to get him in the next one. So I was like, let me write something that I think would be good for him.
Yeah.
And that we have access to. And that's where this whole thing like kind of spiraled into.
It's easy to get me. Just ask. I'll be in anything that you make.
Yeah. So now it's just.
Well, that's what I meant when I said not really that hard, because I think that a lot of times we get in our own way, or we get in our heads about like, oh, well, and it's not even really just budget. It's like, this is too hard because of this, you know? And I know we talk about excuses a lot, but sometimes it's like, we're just too scared. Yeah. And I think that it's easier to play it safe and like not take the bigger risk. But then whenever you're like, it's not that, it's like, what, a 3-hour flight? It's like, it's not that hard. Yeah. But I mean, just scared to work with someone new, or like maybe it's like if you're working with someone that's more experienced than you and you don't want to look stupid or whatever, the limitations might be. But I always think that sometimes the idea of it is like 10 times scarier than actually doing it. And then when you do it, you're like, that's nothing. Like,
everybody's faking it.
Yeah.
Let's just say everybody is.
Sure.
And it does help too that you're so laid back and you're like, I'll crash with y'all. Like, like I don't need to fly first class.
Yeah.
No.
I don't think I ever have in my life. So
we used I remember for this, we have flyer miles from all the traveling we did. And I was like, are you cool with flying Southwest? And I'll use my miles to get you down here.
Yeah, dude.
And it worked. And we got you down here. Got you for 3 days or 2 days, 2.5, something like that.
2.5, something like that.
Yeah, and we made it happen.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of you for doing that.
Yeah.
Guys, like it's hard to make a film. And I think the best part about it for me was watching you guys actively engage and learn in real time. It was like, but you were soaking it in every moment. I could see how happy and excited it was. Like when I was in a studio, recording in a studio. There's nowhere else I would rather be. Like, and it felt like that aura from both of you. Yeah,
there's definitely it's hard to explain unless like you're really passionate about something. But there's definitely this like air whenever you're doing something. I mean, it could be in any field, but that you're doing something that you love, that you just can't explain, and it's so contagious. And when other people are around, it's almost like what is going on here? Like there's like magic in the air happening right now. I mean, like when I felt it like on the whole.
I keep bringing it up, but that field scene. Yeah. Like there's these moments whenever we're shooting these films, every single film I've done so far, it's like I stop and I take a step back and I'm like,
well, he got teary-eyed. I don't even know if he admitted to you, but like during the truck,
I was like,
you're like, why am I? I mean, it's not in a sad way, but you're just so overwhelmed with joy that you're just like, oh my gosh.
Like we have to do this. Yeah. Like, this has to be our life. Like I don't want to do anything else.
Yeah.
You shouldn't. Yeah. You shouldn't. I mean, we've talked so much today. And you're like, I have this idea.
Yeah.
I have this idea.
Yeah.
You have so many, and I'm like, and every idea you've said, I've said, oh, wow, that's a great idea. Yeah, you should make that.
Yeah.
How can I be a part of that?
Yeah.
Because I just want to be on the ride with you guys, because I think that you're definitely doing great things, and you have great ideas, and you know how to execute, especially now that you're like forcing yourself to make these things, to have these experiences, to learn the new things, so that the next time you're like, oh man, it's going to be even better this time. And that's not even said from a perspective of somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. It's Nolan learns something every film.
Right. Yeah.
Nolan is better. Like I love Prestige. I think Prestige is great.
Yeah.
Interstellar is better.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Like
you know
anyone
what I'm saying?
could argue.
Inception is better.
Yeah.
So and I'm sure there's people out there who say, what are you talking about? It just is.
Yeah.
And so he learns if someone at the top of their game can learn something every time.
Yeah.
You can too.
Well, and it's like seeking discomfort, you know, and I think that like our human nature is to like shy away. I mean, obviously no one wants discomfort. Like naturally we're like, oh, like that's uncomfortable, that's scary, that's whatever. And whenever you like seek it out, like it's like this weird like you flip your brain into like, no, I want to throw myself into those situations that terrify me so that you can just keep learning. Because I mean, I think that.
I mean, I was nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys asked me to be in this and, flew me down and, gave the script and you're like, okay,
It's
go.
funny because I didn't think about the pressure from I was like thinking about like, I hope I don't look stupid.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't thinking about like the pressure on you. Like you probably felt too. Cause I think that.
And I mean, like you do have a background in like, you've been on some productions, like you've done some commercial work.
Yeah. That's why I was nervous. I was like, he's been on a set before. He's going to know if we're like not doing this.
I've never worked with anyone that's had like, from an actor standpoint, that's had like any kind of production experience. So I was like, okay, I don't want to look like we don't know what we're doing.
That's hilarious.
With this.
Yeah.
That's
Not
hilarious.
that you would have cared, but it's kind of just like you put the pressure on yourself.
And like, even from a director standpoint, like for this film specifically, I wanted to focus on the acting. That's why I got Ian as the DP and we brought on like all the crew so that I could like get my hands off the camera to really focus in on what's happening in front of the camera.
So smart.
And I just wanted to like.
And you were nervous about that too.
Yeah.
Because it was your first time ever being like, okay, all my attention is on this one thing. And
and I wanted to learn how to communicate with an actor. And since you've done stuff before, it's like, okay, like, I don't know if I'm doing this right. Like, I don't know if like.
You were very like eggshell, like being careful about how you communicate. Yeah. And I was just like, dude, it's okay.
Just
say it.
Yeah.
Like that sucked. Okay, cool. Let's do it some other way.
And that's one of the things that I learned is like, okay, just like be clear and just say what you want. Yeah. And it was an awesome learning experience. It was so cool. Such a good experience to like have the camera stuff taken care of and then like we could just work. And I wish we could have had more time.
I know.
Just to like have fun with it.
Next time
like
we'll
with
set
you,
aside.
you and Andrina, we could have had a whole like at least an entire.
Well, that
day.
wasn't your fault.
Yeah,
that was
everyone's time
the limitation of like how long I could be here.
Yeah, not just you. All of us. I mean, our crew. Like we were all limited. Yeah.
A lot of people came from out of town, and like we had like 2-3 days with everyone in one area
in the same like window.
But I think with that we made it like pretty good. Like
it's great
with our constrictions that we had. It came out the best I think. Allowed.
Yeah.
And your direction on the music too helped a lot.
Oh yeah.
Because I didn't know I've never scored. At the time I had never scored anything before.
Yeah. Oh wow. I didn't know that was your first.
Yeah, no. I mean, I'd written some music, but I'd never for short films, but I'd never
that's
like
totally
scored.
Different. Yeah.
Yeah, like totally different. And so I didn't really know what I was doing or like what direction you wanted. So I think I sent you like 20 different things. I just kept sending you stuff like, oh, this is cool. I did this. Like, do you like this? Do you like that or whatever?
It was cool because we were so excited. Like there would be, I don't know, for some reason, every time you sent something, we were driving, like we were in the truck or something. And he'd be like we'd be mid conversation or listening to whatever. And he would put it on and we would instantly like switch modes. He was like, listen to this.
It would just make my head like,
he would get like goosebumps.
I
like
would just
every
go
time.
into go into the film.
Yeah.
And that was like, I don't know, like working with you on the score was something I want to do every time now because we build the feel of the film before we even shoot. So it's like, especially with you acting as the lead and writing the score, you're able to know like, this is what he's thinking at that time.
Yeah.
So like, the feelings that you want to portray through audio. And
I loved seeing you like, I mean, I know that's like the process, but like get into character. It was just so like reading your, all your notes like on your
do we still have that?
I took a picture of it.
We have a photo of it for sure, but Todd like he wrote all
like basically like every line you would add like this is like it's not said but this is what he's thinking, like this is what the character's thinking or how he's experiencing this event. And I just thought it was really, I mean, it was just so amazing to watch like you
if you notice
fall into that,
if you watch the film, Todd doesn't ever blink when he looks at the at the object.
Well, that was
and
you. That was
the
all
thing
your
that
idea.
He brought on that. He was like, if I'm so intrigued by this object, like I would never blink.
Yeah. It's cool to see something that like came out of your brain, but then like whenever someone brings something new, not new to it, but like something that just like amplifies the story, it's like, it's just growing. Like it's really cool.
Was like the short for the film you did with your band, was that like your kind of intro into acting, or like when did you figure out like, I kind of like this?
That was that? I had done like some commercial stuff, but that's not really acting. I mean, the stuff that I had done, it's I'm on camera.
Yeah.
It's like modeling.
It's modeling.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. It's
But
modeling.
did you ever have like lines, like actual?
I had some.
Okay.
I did a John Deere commercial where I had some lines, but again,
It's not as
it's commercial,
emotional, yeah.
so it's not emotional, and it's not dramatic. It's just deliver
Yeah.
at this moment in this way.
Okay.
You know, it's not fun.
Yeah. I've
Doesn't
never really
matter if
thought
I
about
blink or not,
from the
or, like-
acting side, like commercial versus narrative.
I mean, to
Yeah.
me, still real acting, the biggest kind of acting is stage acting.
yeah.
Because you got
Oh,
one
yeah.
take.
Yeah.
And it never
Yeah.
stops. It's just constant.
Yeah.
But second to that is film, and it's the fun thing about film is that you have 100 different things that you have to think about and not think about at the same time.
Yeah.
You're supposed to think about nothing.
Yeah.
But if I'm looking here, my eye line is different with the camera than if I'm looking here.
Yeah.
Or if I'm looking there.
Yeah.
Right? So I might be talking to you, but I got to look here.
Yeah.
For the camera.
Yeah.
You know? And these are things that I love.
Yeah.
But that it's
Can be
not,
challenging.
It can be challenging
Yeah.
as an actor to not, think about that.
Or to not look like you're thinking about it.
Yeah, to
I think
not look
that's-
like you're thinking
Yeah,
about
it's
it.
like when people say you're a pro if you like make your job look easy,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
think that whenever it's like people that seem so effortless, and it's because the things that they're thinking they're hiding, like you can't see it. Yeah.
Well, a good example is like Kieran Culkin in the new in that.
Yeah.
I need to see that. Yeah.
A Real Pain.
Yeah.
It's the definition of
Effortless. Yeah.
acting, because he's not acting. Like
Yeah.
he didn't memorize his script. He just like showed up and like that's him.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It was, and in fact, I think there's a funny interview that who's the guy that wrote it? Who's the Social Network guy?
Oh.
Why am I blanking? Everybody at home is going to
Yeah.
be like, oh, it's so and so. Whatever. They were rehearsing, and Kieran showed up, and he's like, "Why are you rehearsing? It's stupid." Because why?
Yeah.
You were going to rehearse when there's no camera on you. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So why,
Yeah.
And I guess in some aspects that's true, and in some aspects it's not. But
Yeah.
It's
for
all
him,
about like your
the type of film they were
yeah,
doing
and
was
like everyone has their
Their method.
yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what's so interesting is seeing like,
There's not like a right and wrong.
yeah,
way.
like everyone's personal way to do it. Like Joaquin Phoenix and Joker, his way of getting into characters in the Joker is like completely different than.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some people that are very scientific and they want to know like this is where I'm supposed to be. These are the lines I'm exactly supposed to read. And there's people that like total freedom, but I think that's cool. I think it's cool that everyone has their own process
Yeah.
and their own way of doing it.
Yeah, we rehearsed a little bit here because I'd never worked with her before.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was going to get. I'd never met her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how, like, when you're first looking, when I'm looking into the eyes of my wife, I want to have looked into your eyes
Yeah.
before and
Yeah.
said some words.
Yeah.
So we rehearsed and stuff, but your script, you were so gracious with the script, and I would make a suggestion, like, I don't think he would say this word, or might say this line, but he would say it in maybe a different phrase.
tone. Yeah.
And you were so gracious to say, okay, yeah, I think, or hey, let's keep this phrase in or whatever, because it's
Yeah.
important because this happens later. And it really made me feel super free as an actor or just as a creative person
Yeah.
to come in and say, what do you think of this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's when the characters come to life.
Yeah, and
you
I
know?
think I actually love that part of it. I don't know if there may be some writers and directors out there that are like, no, read it this way, but I'm like, I'm
Tarantino.
creating. Is he like
It's
that?
very.
I am creating the story, creating the look, creating all this stuff, and it's all coming from my one brain, and I don't want that. Like, I don't want it to sound like it's only coming from me. I want it to be. I want you to embody the character, whoever's acting to embody the character, and that's who you're spending your time with is that character. So
Yeah.
you would know that better
Yeah.
than I would know because, yes, I like technically wrote it or created it or whatever, but I'm also writing the wife part.
Well,
Or-
and but that's also like the beauty of casting.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it's like if you are putting the right person in the right role, it is their job to bring the character
Yeah.
to life. Yeah.
And the way I would have an argument between a husband and wife may not be the way the actors would.
Yeah.
So I'd rather it come across more
genuine
and real that way than my way.
Yeah.
And what y'all did was so good. Like
Yeah.
watching it today again on the big screen, I'm like, man,
I know.
That was
like,
fun.
that was
like,
all
look
them.
at those performances.
That was fun.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
man.
So have you done, I guess, what sparked your interest into acting?
I loved films. Actually, Wes, one of my best friends, whom you guys have become more friends with.
Yeah.
He's a filmmaker in Austin, great filmmaker. I met him because of a job. We worked at the same company together. Yeah. And then I remember him quitting to buy, and he said, I'm going to buy a camera.
Oh, cool.
And I remember saying, and I regret it to this day, why? Yeah, it's like something my father would say when I told him that I wanted to go play music. I was like, why would I say that?
Yeah.
But he was super inspiring to me because he was like, no, I have this love for creating and telling stories, and I think I want to do that. And I'm going to go do it. And so I started looking at movies a lot differently. I always liked movies, but I was never wanted to act or like make them.
Yeah,
or,
like be behind the scenes.
Right. Yeah, I just didn't know because I was so engrossed in music that that's all I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. So I started watching them differently, and he would come over to my house, and he's like, "Hey, let's watch this movie or whatever," and I would go to his place. We would watch movies, and it just got me into it. Mm-hmm. And then so much so that I thought, you know what, like, this medium feels different. This medium feels like, well, how do you say it? You sit down and you listen to an album. It's a different experience than if you watch a movie because a movie comes to you.
Yeah.
An album, you have to like stay with it. It has to like pull you along and you have to, pay attention or else you miss stuff.
Yeah.
And a film feels a lot more like it comes to you in the right way. The right ones do in the right way. And I just remember loving that. And I thought, well, what would it be like to be part of that community? And so I started getting in with, some casting agents in Austin and booked a few gigs, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
So you fell in love like right away.
Yeah, because I could write an entire album in my room.
Yeah.
By myself. Without anybody's input, anybody helping. I could put fake drums on it, I could put fake guitar, or I could play guitar, I could play piano. But to make a film,
you can't
like
do it alone.
A really good one,
Yeah.
you cannot do it alone.
Yeah.
No.
You cannot do it alone.
Yeah.
At some point, you need other people. And I thought that was such a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And Glow was such a great example of that. I mean, I called my wife after we got in, immediately came in, started shooting with you guys.
Like you literally almost were like rolling in the door as we were
Yeah,
recording.
we had
you
the
were
lights
like acting
set up
on your way in.
ready for you. Like you walked in and it was like the scene
You
was
set
ready.
your bags down and
Yeah.
you were like, and action.
Yeah.
And I called her and I said, this is special. Like, this feels so fun. It feels like the first time I was ever in a studio.
Oh,
like,
wow.
the blinky lights and like,
Yeah.
the
Like
gear
everything's
everywhere,
just-
the special room that sounds perfect and everything. And it was that, but with a dozen people all going towards one direction.
Yeah.
And that just felt so special to me.
Yeah.
And around people that I trust and I know and I love. And I was like, man, this is great. I want to do this all the time.
Yeah.
So y'all created a really amazing environment for
I feel like
the film.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. I just feel like it happened. I don't feel like it was anything that we tried to do or anything like that.
But that's
it's just
why it was.
I feel like the right people just came together and made.
And
this,
it wouldn't have been that with any. I don't know. It was like it had to be like this crew.
Yeah.
Like it was like it's not just like
Yeah.
any group of people that gets together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, remember that day, and I was like, man, this is just like. I wish we were shooting a feature. Like I wish this was
Every
going
time
on.
we
kept
shoot,
going.
every time
Yeah.
we've
It's
a
done a
3-month
short film,
shoot.
Yeah.
he's like, I just want to do this every day, and eventually, like, we will.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
you're never shooting every day, but like, eventually, that'll be the everyday reality. But I think it's just always such a good reminder when you feel that, because you don't get to feel that every day. Whenever we're shooting commercial projects or like the day-to-day stuff, it's not the same. And then whenever you have those magical moments, you're like, wow.
Yeah.
Well, it might feel like it just happened, but it just happened because of all of the decisions and the work you put into it beforehand and during. Like, really, you look back on it and you think, man, that went so fast.
Yeah.
And now we have this final product and da-da. But, it's probably, I wouldn't know. A little like childbirth. You just forget afterwards.
Yeah.
My wife would say, I'd ask her, like, what did that feel like? Well, it hurt. I can tell you that. But I don't really remember much about it. Because you just kind of go, okay, I got to do the next thing. Now I got to do the next thing. Now I got to do the next thing.
Yeah.
And then it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so true because I know I have kind of like been like dogging on myself a little bit about like, oh, I wish I would have done more in whatever, like set design or whatever. Like there's always more that you could do. But I was really proud because it was kind of the first time I felt like on my A game with like everything at least being organized. Like everyone knew like schedules, timing, food. I mean, like the little things like that to where it's like, oh, it, like you said, like it seemed like seamless. And it's like, well, there's a lot of upfront work to where it becomes that.
Yeah.
Because the smallest little thing can be like the biggest hiccup.
Yeah.
Like something as simple as like everyone's starving and there's no food here.
They're getting hangry
Or
and
like-
it's going to be an hour before
Or even
food
like
gets here.
before you think about it, then it's too late because
Yeah.
then, like you said, it's like a process and it's like little things like that can affect the whole like mood of the room or like, and that can come across on camera and come across like behind the scenes with crew members and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like,
I'll
that
say
was-
too, so on that note, well, two things. The first thing is that, I've been on big budget sets.
yeah,
Like $1 million sets
Yeah.
and stuff that it didn't feel any less seamless than it felt like on Glow,
wow.
honestly. So
it's like the
it felt,
best compliment.
well, there was food when there needed to be food.
Yeah.
There was always coffee if there
Yeah.
needed to be coffee. I could get out of the hot garage if I needed to.
Yeah.
Just come into the air conditioning.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was a bathroom nearby. Like all of the necessities were there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I felt seen and heard
Yeah.
by the director, by the producer, and by the DP. That's the other thing. Ian is a fucking rock star.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that you didn't know him.
Yeah.
That you had never met him.
Yeah.
Until like I think right before I got
Well, they met
here.
on a location scout.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
for this film. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were like in
Yeah.
And I remember like the scariest thing for me is not as an actor or talent or whatever you want to call it, is that I'm going to show up and somebody's going to be a jerk
Yes. Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
I feel
like
that way too.
egos
Yeah.
and yeah.
And especially somebody that is so technical like the DP.
Yeah.
Like the producer and the director, you could know nothing of how a camera works.
Yeah.
And one, I knew you guys already.
Yeah.
But you could know nothing of how a camera works,
Yeah.
right? And that's one thing. But for the DP, who knows how the camera works,
Yeah.
who knows what a set is supposed to be like, who
Yeah.
knows lighting, who has worked with good actors before.
Yeah.
The first thing that I do is I have to react.
Mm-hmm.
And what does that person think
Yeah.
about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's and
That's
he's
the
just so wonderful.
vulnerability part of the equation where
Yeah.
it's like it's scary for everyone.
Yeah.
Like I mean, no matter how maybe I shouldn't say everyone. I shouldn't like categorize, but no matter how experienced you are, I feel like people are going to come with insecurities. Like they bring insecurities to the table.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just think it was really cool to watch all of our relationships kind of like. I just feel like the veil or like the wall, like not that we had a wall up, but
but we were all
the
kind of
everybody.
like the
strangers.
comfort level
Yeah.
just was so quick. It was like
Yeah.
within a few hours, it's like, all right.
Yeah.
Like,
the first time
we're
Ian
all-
cracked a joke,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
I was like, okay,
Yeah.
this guy's cool.
Yeah.
He's not an uptight. He's
Yeah.
not uptight. He's not like, a whip cracker
Yeah.
or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if something needed to get done fast, he was on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the difference between a great DP to work with
Yeah.
and a great DP, just a great DP.
Right.
You can be great, but you can be horrible to work
Yeah.
with. And
we were
it doesn't matter.
talking about that the other day. Like it's like the talent level versus your like
The gap.
workability.
skills, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
like
yeah.
because it's like you can be the most talented person in the world and never get hired for a job because you have a reputation for just being trash to work with.
Yeah.
Like whether it's ego or whatever. Like
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's really it's funny because people focus so much on like their technical skills in their craft and they forget that it's like it's equally important just to be like a good human.
Yeah, and I didn't think at all in any moment between you guys, between Ian or Oz, who also is like a great shooter,
Yeah.
that anybody had an ego.
Right.
Everybody felt like everybody was like trying to learn
Yeah.
and listen
Yeah.
to everyone else.
Yeah.
Whether you're learning something or not doesn't necessarily matter. You just need to listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And if you listen, then you hear what somebody else is really saying, even though they say something else.
Yeah.
You know, when Ian is saying, I need more depth on this or something.
Yeah. More levels.
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 Yeah.
No more
Yeah.
levels.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Oz knows the idea behind that,
Yeah.
you know, or
Yeah.
you know the idea or behind that
Yeah.
because you're a shooter too.
Yeah.
And you're
Yeah.
like, okay, I know what to do. We need to turn this light down or
Yeah.
like change the color here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's the same way, you know, for like acting, you know,
Yeah.
if you're saying that, you know, I don't know, there's more at stake.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
Necessarily.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not telling me what to do,
Yeah.
but it's giving me a little bit more information than I had before. So-
And like when you are going into an environment where you don't have an ego or you're leaving your ego at the door, I feel like the beautiful thing is that no one takes anything personal because everyone is there to learn. So it's like
such a great-
being able to own up whenever you're like, oh, like that was me, like I messed that up, like with the dang garage door or like whatever.
Oh, yeah.
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 I mean, I feel like it makes it so much more fun because everybody can like either laugh it off or like I said, take ownership and like fix it and move on versus being like
Yeah.
where it's like detrimental to everybody's chemistry, you know?
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, it made me feel really okay by not being okay with what I've done.
Yeah.
With like, I didn't like what I did.
Yeah. And you were so good at that. You were
Yeah,
so good
yeah.
at being like, I can do that better.
Yeah.
I respected that so much.
Now, and looking back, like since I've done that film, I've been watching a lot of like behind the scenes on how directors work and everything, and even actors like commenting on directors. And the one thing that every actor appreciates is more takes. So like the first, 10 takes, a lot of people don't even use.
Yeah.
Like they want to get to that point. And in the
And once
future,
again, it's a process.
yeah.
I'm sure everyone has like their
in the future,
their
I would
method.
love to be able to do the pre-planning enough in the beginning to where it can allow that time to like, okay, let's experiment with that. Let's run it one more time. Like let's take our
Yeah.
time with this. And I think seeing you do that and seeing you say like, oh no, I can do that better. I wasn't feeling that one. Like I can go deeper. I would have loved to see you go to your full potential on that because sometimes we had to move on. We're like, oh,
Right.
okay.
Because
like,
I was usually the one that was
sometimes,
like,
yeah.
nope,
And-
that was take
And I can
number-
tell you which ones when I look at when I watch the film, I'm
Yeah.
like, I know.
Yeah.
I know. If I would have had 2 or 3 more.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah,
It's
I
not
was-
always. It's not always. You know.
Yeah.
It's not
we're
always
almost
perfect.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But another cool thing was we kind of talked about it earlier, but you did the entire score for the film,
Yeah.
which was awesome. So good. Like you literally picked my brain for like exactly what I was thinking for this film.
Yeah.
I mean, you two were like 80s, 90s babies.
Yeah.
Love like Stranger Things, the synth wave.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted this film to feel like. I wanted to feel like one of those movies that you pop in a VHS and
Yeah.
you're like, oh yeah, like that you remember like
Yeah.
as a kid. And you just blew that out of the park.
Thanks, man.
And yeah, I'm just curious, like, how do you start your process with that? I know you said you've never done one before, but
Yeah.
like, how did you start your process with like kind of coming up with sounds and
Yeah.
like the mood and everything like that?
I didn't have anything to go off of, so I just tried to think of feelings,
Yeah.
and so I didn't have. I mean, when I say I didn't have anything to go off of, I mean I didn't have anything visual.
Yeah.
Yeah,
know, I
right.
just
Yeah,
had
because
the
we did
script and-
we did this before we started shooting.
Yeah.
We
Right.
started working on the music.
And I just tried to think of like, I tried to think of what I would want it to look like, and then I'd find a sound that kind of made that feeling, and then I would just make something. I would just like stop thinking about it, and I would make something. My favorite part in the whole, and I made like 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
maybe
made a lot.
more.
Yeah.
Like I just, and I think that was because of my inefficiency of like ever having done this.
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, I'm
Let
just
me
going to
just
throw
blast through.
everything
Yeah.
out. I'm going to, blast through every feeling that I have and
Yeah.
just make as much shit as I can.
Yeah.
And whatever, throw everything at the wall and see
Mm-hmm.
what sticks. And highly inefficient, however, a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it probably like maybe just made you guys excited because
Yeah.
like more stuff kept
Yeah,
coming.
yeah.
Right. But it was anyway, so I would find a sound and then I'd think, okay, this is kind of like what I'm feeling. And then I would add something to it. And then I would say, okay, does this kind of extend that feeling or does it pull it back? Okay. Sends it. Okay. I'll add something else. And then before I'd know it, I'd have something. And then my favorite part of the whole film musically is the aerial shot of the truck. And we've talked about that.
Yeah.
Oz flew the drone for that. Yeah.
And that was how I wrote that was I had a pad sound, just like a droney pad sound. And I opened up a synth on my computer because I have like a synth set up and I have like hardware synths. Yeah. But I opened this thing up on my computer and I just hit a key. And I was just thinking, and as I was tapping this key, it was like, and I thought, oh, that's kind of cool. If I just stay on this key
like
and I just
rhythm.
That's cool. Yeah.
And then I just kept going with it. And then I was, I don't even remember, honestly. I just really liked it. And I didn't know what it was going to be for. Yeah. And I sent it to you guys and you liked it.
I remember you sent that to me and that was one of my favorite parts of everything you created. Yeah. And you were like, I just feel like this is what's going on in this character's mind in that moment. Yeah. And I was like, absolutely. So I remember we were like, let's cut out everything else. And we're just going to have that.
Oh, yeah,
when you sent me that cut and you cut everything out, I thought that's exact. I didn't even know, what it was supposed to be for.
So good. Yeah. Yeah. So do you think like being able to write the music and listen to the music kind of helped you or didn't really like correlate?
Yeah.
Like as an actor.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I mean, actually, I don't know. That's a good question. Yeah. I think they're kind of, maybe it helped, maybe it didn't. Yeah. They're kind of separate, I think. I mean, because when you're acting, you don't have the music playing. You're just kind of like there in the moment. Yeah. It made me, more excited for the film.
Yeah, like more invested.
Right. And I love music and I would love to score more. I've scored a short film for Wes. Yeah. Have you seen that film by the way?
I don't think I've seen a complete version. I think you sent me some clips with some of the stuff you did. And
it's
what
done
I've seen,
now.
it looks incredible.
It's dope.
Yeah.
It's dope.
Where's that going? Is that going to festivals? Or cool?
He's got it out in festivals.
He told me that he got into one, I think, in Phoenix.
Oh, that's exciting.
And he's going to go to it. And it's like his first festival.
He hasn't told me that yet.
Really? Oh,
I did not know that.
Really?
No, it's fine. No, that's great. I didn't know that. That's freaking sick, man.
Yeah. And I think he said it's his first festival to go to.
Cool.
It is.
It's really cool.
If there's any local ones, we should go. Like if there's,
Oh, 100%. Yeah. He entered it into a lot of festivals. So we'll see. What it gets. But I worked with Scott, my old guitar player, on that. So I really love that. I love music just like you guys do. And it seems like a good marriage. Yeah. I've mixed some films before, but that's not fun at all.
Yeah,
to mix films.
It's all just like detailed.
It's not fun. Yeah. But writing scores is cool. I'm a big Hans Zimmer fan.
Yeah.
Of course. He's the GOAT.
I surprised him with tickets to the Houston Symphony. You've probably heard of it. They do
like the candlelight
themed
quartet.
Like different themed like quartet nights, and they did a Hans Zimmer themed one, and it was in an airplane hangar.
It was in the Flight Museum in Houston, but it's like all these
the World War II.
I literally again got brought to tears in this moment because we were in this hangar with all these World War II planes.
Well, they have it
and they were playing the Dunkirk soundtrack.
Dunkirk,
I'm like, oh,
but it's nothing but just the string, the string instruments.
And it's all lit by candlelight. Like they have hundreds of candlelights everywhere, and you're just like, what is this?
You're a good wife.
You can't not.
As a great gift.
It was awesome.
Well, I remember they do all different themes, and I've seen they'll do like a Halloween.
Yeah, we went to a Halloween one once.
And then whenever I saw Hans Zimmer, I was like, oh my,
I want to go see him in concert. He came to Austin about a month ago. I'm like, oh.
Was it just a month ago?
Maybe a little longer, but it wasn't that long ago. I had some friends that went. I was like, man, I wish I would have gone.
Yeah, that was incredible. It was just incredible because it's like I'm not a musician, but I'm very deeply impacted by music.
Yeah. Well, you're a music lover.
Yeah, but same being thing. Like something about hearing the actual, not through a speaker, hearing the actual instruments, the strings and the tone in the room with cinematic lighting, but the dark amber tones and then all the old aircrafts. It was just it was so
crazy.
Awesome. It was really cool.
Yeah, I know having the music early though helped me a lot because I was listening to it when I was like rewriting the script, and then we would even when we were like shopping for props and stuff, I'd listen to it like on the way there. I'm like, okay, you know, and it helps a lot for me to like kind of get in that mode. I'm trying to remember, we played it really loud while everyone was here at one point. Like we had, I don't remember where it was. Was it whenever we lit the door upstairs? No, I think Todd was here.
I don't remember what part was done
while we were filming.
Like what part was already finished?
We were filming. And
I mean, I had a couple of the themes done.
Yeah.
You know what it was?
The ending theme was done.
It was the night after the truck scene. We all came back here, and Ian had just done some quick color.
Oh yeah, that's right. And y'all just laid it over, like just to like
and so
feel.
we were just like watching back the footage from the day, and we like blasted
Yeah.
all of your songs like while we're like, oh, this
I
is
forgot
so
about
good.
that.
Yeah,
That's great.
Yeah. So having it to do stuff like that,
Yeah.
oh man, it if nothing else, it makes me like way more excited about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, any ideas that you have, I want to work on them.
Oh yeah,
you know.
yeah. We're
Well, I was gonna say
We're in bed together.
yeah.
There's
This
a
is
lot.
it. Yeah.
There's a lot.
You're gonna see Todd star in every single one of my films.
That's
Like
great.
the dynamic duo back together again.
What is it like? Scorsese and
De
Niro? Or is it?
It's DiCaprio. Is it like
DiCaprio?
everything now?
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
they've got their, and I think that's like what a lot of films are like. A
Or
director.
Nolan and Matt Damon.
Yes.
Yeah. I feel like everyone, even Robert Rodriguez puts
Danny Trejo.
Yeah, Danny
Yeah.
Trejo. I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
the shit
And
to
everything.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone's got their like crew,
Yeah.
and I think that's what's so cool. And I know like being here in Houston, I've always felt like kind of separated from having a crew, and because like the narrative world is not very big here.
Yeah.
Like there's not a lot of people that do that.
And a lot of times it's almost like if you say that you don't care about commercial work in Houston, you're almost like, I don't want to say like shunned, but people are like, what else would you do?
Yeah.
You know, like there's
yeah.
definitely like that's what you do.
Yeah.
And I think that it's interesting because it makes you kind of feel like more lonely or like an outsider.
I totally get
And
it.
Yeah.
I remember going to like shoots in LA, like some of those bigger sets that we were on, and everyone had their crew, and it's like they started from nothing, and there's like the same people working up, and they're on these bigger sets.
Yeah.
And I would think, I'm like, man, like we don't have a crew like that. Like I
Yeah.
want to get, and now I finally feel like we're starting to build our team.
Yeah.
And we may all be all over the place, but it's not that hard to get together.
It's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
a
and
few hours of a flight and
Yeah.
then you're there.
And it was really cool, like that, like Glow, the shoot, and then the film festival today just like proved that. It's like, oh, like nothing. Within 3 hours, we're all together.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like 3 hour flight, 3 hour car ride for Ian and Oz.
Yeah.
It's easy.
I love like sitting back and listening to y'all. Like at lunch today, like y'all were on like the end of the table, and I literally every time I looked down there, y'all were like, "What if this and then this?"
yeah.
And,
We
then
were
what
just
if-
having,
and
like,
it was
this
is
like
all your
you're
ideas,
having
man.
like 6 conversations at one time, but it was about like a bunch of different projects.
Oh,
'Cause
yeah.
It was like one person's talking about like an album, and then there's like a short film, and then a feature, and then like a title. Like all these things are being thrown around, and it was just cool because it's almost like, even if nothing comes from that, it just makes you, it like refills your cup, you know?
That's
like
a
it
great
just
way to
makes
say
you
it.
feel
Yeah.
like
Inspired.
your creative like battery is like recharged.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one thing that I love about you too is you're like a genuine movie fan. Like you like watching movies. You go to the movies as much as we do. We go.
It's hard to find.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people say they love movies, but they like don't go see like every
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
I mean, not that we
You're
see
not
every
wrong.
movie, but it's hard to find people because like every time we're like, "Have you seen this?" and they're like, "No." I mean, we still have a lot that we need to see, but it's just funny because we go probably every week.
Yeah, for sure. Once a week. Most of the time, twice
anytime
a
there's
week.
an independent film in a theater, like we try to go just to support.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but I mean, even we just go see it, even like the ones that are not good.
Yeah,
like, we
and it's
just
cool
go
because
see
I feel
everything.
like to make narrative films, you have to be a movie fan.
Yeah.
You do.
Like you have to love movies, not just like the camera or
Yeah.
not just like
Yes.
one aspect of it. Like you got to like love movies, and I feel like you actually love movies, and that's why I love like just sending you ideas and being like. You watch probably more than I do.
Yeah.
And it's
All the
like,
time.
Yeah. And you would tell me, oh, that's not a good idea.
Yeah.
You know,
I try to not. That's the thing. So because I do the podcast, I have the podcast with Wes.
Yeah.
We make it very. We're very careful about spoilers,
Yeah.
and so I include what I think
Yeah.
as a spoiler. Because if you ask me, what is this movie? How is this movie? And I tell you, I didn't think it was good. It's going to affect how you watch the movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right. So
we always try to like not, because that always happens to us when people are like, and then you go into it and you're like, I can't see this like with a clear mind, you know?
Yeah. So, but nobody else is like that.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody else like that.
No, everyone tells you their opinion.
Yeah. And I don't know. I also don't know anybody besides my closest friends that love movies like me. I mean, like even my wife, like God love her, she does not watch movies.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Like, because they impact her. Like she like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Feels
I will say
them
I
viscerally.
am that way about like
I think that's amazing though. I love
horror, like horror, and like I love it's like a love hate. I love like the mind bending stuff, but there are certain things that I feel like too deeply to where I'm like, this is gonna like affect me beyond
for a long time.
This 2-hour window,
Yeah.
you know, and I have to like be aware of that, like how much I'm absorbing. So I do have to be like careful with
my wife uses the excuse that she just doesn't buy a lot of it in movies. She's like, I can see through the production. I know they're acting, whatever. I think
There's
that's
more
a little
to
bit.
it.
I think there's more to it. I think movies really affect her a lot.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you said, I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's why I love movies, is because I grew up like an only child in a small town, like with no neighbors. So I was out in the middle of nowhere, and movies was the only place that my imagination could get sucked into that story.
Yeah.
And you could feel like whatever character that was. And so I feel movies very deeply too, but that's why I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
But it's cool that she like, she loves, I don't say love her, but she feels that deeply with them.
Yeah. There's times that it's like, in a good way, like there's times that movies have, like I would say, even changed just my whole perspective on life, which sounds so dramatic, but it's like to where like it's something that you've seen has just been like, I look at life differently now after that 2-hour.
Is there a movie
window.
that you could think of right now?
Several, for sure.
Can you give me one?
Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
Adore
100 out of 100.
Yeah.
Adore that movie.
It changed the way that I looked at life.
Yeah.
Like it's very underrated.
The scene where he picks a car.
Yeah.
Red
like
and blue.
The red or the blue one. Yeah. Yeah.
Is from The Matrix. It's like a call to The Matrix.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
It's straight up the reason why it's red and blue. It's the red and blue
I've
pill
heard
from The
that.
Matrix.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's
and they
cool.
even look like it's like a little ball
And what is
car.
it?
Like
It's
it
the
looks
blue
like
one, right? That he picks, or I can't
No, I
remember.
think he picks
Whichever.
red.
The one to wake up, right?
Yeah.
Whatever one it is to wake
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it's red or blue.
That's
He's
cool.
like, oh, definitely the blue
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
You know,
That's awesome.
whatever. The
Yeah.
one to wake up.
Yeah.
Because he's on this journey to wake up in his life.
I think that one. I mean, also like the time of my life that I saw it was just like, I want to live my life like this way. Like, I mean, it was just like seeing something that I felt like it was maybe not a motto. What's that called? Where it's like a mission statement or something,
Yeah,
to
sure.
where it's like, this was already the way that I viewed life, but now I have like a visual to go along with it. Like it just like aligned with, like you said, waking up to this is the world outside of the safe parameters, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, several. I mean, Peanut Butter Falcon.
Ooh, that's a good one.
So
Shia
good.
LaBeouf.
Yes.
I love
That
Like,
guy.
Do you know the story behind that one?
No. What?
So the directors made a proof of concept. I think they had a $40,000 budget. They made a proof of concept of that.
Cool.
They wrote the script for the guy with Down syndrome.
Well, he had
he
a
saw
goal,
them. Yeah, and
a
he was like,
dream.
I want to be a movie star. So they wrote the script for him. They shot it with like a $40,000 budget, and they pitched it to Shia, and Shia saw it, and he's like, I want to be a part of that.
Oh my God. Okay, well,
Like-
first off, how do you get in a room with Shia LaBeouf?
Yeah, I don't have any
Right?
idea.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably easier for someone like him because he's probably like very approachable.
Yeah.
Because he's so
Yeah.
real and down to earth. I mean, he's one of the most, him, Jim Carrey, and Keanu Reeves.
Oh yeah.
Are probably like the easiest
Just
people to
strolling,
talk to.
like eating an ice
you
cream
know?
cone on the sidewalk.
Like, hey,
yeah.
what's up, man?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that was
Can we pause real quick?
Yeah.
This is about to die. Cool. All right.
Peanut Butter Falcon.
Peanut Butter Falcon. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they did the proof of concept and somehow pitched it to Shia, and Shia was like on board to do it. And once you get Shia on it, then it's
Yeah.
like they got funding for the full
Yeah.
full
It was
film.
just cool that the whole script was kind of around like making a role for his character And he loved the concept so much. That was another one of those movies that it was, I mean, everyone's performance in it was so good, but it was just like another like perspective shift on like, stop trying to play everything so safe and like, so, because I lean on like, I don't know how well you remember, but the character, like his caretaker, the female character in the movie is like very protective of him for good reason and doesn't want anything bad to happen to him and is very like, no, he can't do that. He's going to get hurt or whatever. And I definitely like have some of those tendencies with just being like overly protective. And that was one of those movies that I was like, girl, let go. run around barefoot, like in the yard and climb a tree. And you know, it was just but like another one of those, like, go live a little.
About that is that I love those characters that teach me to be a little bit more or less of something, but they're important not just to teach me to be different, but to teach me that it's okay to be me.
Yeah.
However I am. If I'm super protective, you know, that's necessary to have. It's necessary to have the extremes of everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Very true.
You know, because then like if everybody is just like Shia in that movie, you know, a lot of people are going to get hurt.
Yeah.
You know, that didn't need to get hurt.
Right.
And they need the people to be protective.
Yeah.
You know, super protective or whatever. And do you guys ever think about this in movies like John Wick? He kills a lot of people in those movies.
Yeah.
Do you ever think about like the family of the most random person that he kills?
I have before. I thought like, I'm like, yeah, but not frequently. No.
Like that person grew up, had, you know, a life and experiences, went to school, has friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I have had those thoughts, which
maybe it was his first day
feel like
as a henchman or something.
We're so weird. Like,
you know, like, and I think about that all the time. And I think it stems from the Death Star explosion.
Oh yeah.
You know, in Star Wars and the thousands of people that died that were literally just there to work.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't know, they were part of the Empire, but they didn't know the Empire was bad. They didn't necessarily think that, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just think about that all the time.
You just think like the backstory. It's like the empathy side of you.
You can relay that all the way back to life. It's like, how many jobs are we working as humans that we're like, we don't know what we're doing that's bad.
I mean, right. Yeah. We're just trying to like make a living for my family.
Yeah.
Or thinking of people's backstories. I do that a lot. Well, in real life, like on the road for sure. Like anytime I'm at a light, I'm always like, well, okay, he jokes with, it's not really a joke. He always is like, you have toxic positivity. I think I've been, the last like couple
is that
of days.
A thing?
Well, apparently it is. The last few days, Ian, you, like y'all have just been like on me about it. But I look at people, I mean, it's because I don't personally suffer from like road rage and stuff like that. But I look at people and I genuinely like see
the person.
Yeah. And I like see them at a light or even people being a jerk on the road. And I'm like, man, they must be so unhappy in like maybe they hate their job. Maybe it's like their spouse or whoever partner just like treats them like trash or all these things. And it makes me feel like I'm not making excuses for bad behavior. I'm just saying it makes me feel very like more patient, I guess, or like understanding. And
you do have toxic positivity.
Yeah.
It's like rubbing off. And I'm going to think about that the next time I'm mad at somebody on the road.
It's a healthy way to look at other humans in life. Like I said, I'm not saying make excuses for people to be a jerk, but I mean, I think that we would all be a lot more patient with each other if we all realized that like people are dealing with a lot of crap and they're not who they are in that moment.
I relate everything to movies.
Yeah.
This makes me think of, have you seen Adaptivity?
No.
Adaptivity? Whatever, the Nicolas Cage film?
No.
Adaptivity? I think that's what it's called. Where he's a script writer. And he has a twin brother who looks just like him.
Oh, wow.
But he's stuck and he can't write his script. And he goes to New York to go to this, to go see this guy speak. Right? To go to this conference that the screenwriter is putting on. And he stands up and he asks a question. And the question is, can I make a movie about nothing?
That's deep.
And the guy's answer is perfect. The guy gets mad at him and yells at him. He's like, how dare you waste 2 hours of my life with your stupid movie that doesn't say anything.
Wow.
Give me meaning to what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right. And anyway, that just made me, what you were saying just made me think of that film, because, everybody has something they're going through. And that's what he says. He says, everybody has something. You have a story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't tell me nothing.
Yeah.
Tell me your story.
It's so true.
Whatever that is. It could be the smallest thing. It could be anything, but you have something that you can tell me. Don't tell me nothing.
Yeah.
Because it's not real.
It's so true.
I agree with that.
And we're all going through stuff,
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
I always think about like how it's so cool that people get different things. I mean, this is kind of like along the same lines, but everyone's going to like get something different from the same film based on your life experiences, or like there could be, I mean, that's why everyone has a different favorite movie, like there could be things that I see in a film that don't affect me that like might change your life, or, the other way around. And I think I have so much of an appreciation for like the audience in the movie making process.
Yeah.
Because it's like, that's like, I mean, yes, the creation process of the movie is important. As an artist, like you just need to get it out. But it's like what you're saying, what's the point of getting it out if there's no audience to experience it, Yeah. And I feel like they're just as much a part of the movie making process, like them experiencing what you made. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're like part of the process. It's
yeah.
really, yeah.
I've been reading this book. Oh gosh, I'm so bad with names today. I don't know what's going on.
That's all right. We've like hit so many points.
I know.
On
We have
all of our
we have
10 conversations throughout the day.
Anyway, the point is that true creativity doesn't take the audience into account, think about the audience at all. And
was it Rick Rubin?
It was Rick Rubin. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just keep warring with that, with that idea, because
I do understand like the opposing perspective of like, you shouldn't create because of how it's portrayed. You should just create to create,
right?
Like even if there's a 0-person audience,
right?
But I feel like if you have something in you that can change someone's life, then you're doing, like, I mean, I feel like we're being repetitive, but it's like you're not like putting this stuff out in the world that you're meant to, like, you could change someone's life with something that, like, with an idea that's in your head,
But
and
if you
that's
make
the full circle.
Yeah, the point is like if you make a movie, and you don't ever release it,
right?
This is the point I'm thinking. I'm like, you're not just making a movie because you want to make it.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to make it and then, or it's pointless to make one and then never put it out.
Yeah.
Or never put it on, even if it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
If it's not like released or like you submit it to festivals,
Mm-hmm.
you just like put it out. Did you really just make it because you wanted to make a movie and for nobody to see?
It's like if a tree falls in a forest, does it make a sound?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I didn't really understand that question until like I really thought about it. And it's really breaking my brain, honestly.
You're like, wait,
yeah,
let's
I don't
revisit.
really know.
Yeah.
But anyway, I wanted to ask you, like, what's your favorite movie?
Oh man, favorite of all. That's a hard one. I can tell you like what got me into movies.
Or like I was saying, movies that have like changed your perspective on life, or that's almost like it's almost
a heavier
easier.
question.
Yeah, but maybe
That way, I don't know.
That's a deep one. Like change my perspective on life. Interstellar.
Yeah.
That one, I remember watching.
That's why we're friends.
Yeah. I remember walking out of the theater for the first time and seeing that, like, questioning life.
Yeah, I remember you looked up at the sky. Like, we walked out and he was like, looked up at the stars and was like, what is life? Like, what is reality?
In my opinion, that is the perfect film. Like, it's so good. I just can't even explain it.
Yeah.
That's probably the one that I have to say for that. But Lord of the Rings is what got me into wanting to make movies. Like seeing the behind the scenes of that was.
Well, you were obsessed with the fact that they like made. I mean, it's like what you said earlier about being a kid, but like they made this world, this reality that didn't exist that came to life. And all of a sudden, it's like now you can like live in that world.
I love world building.
Yeah,
Star Wars.
Okay.
Harry Potter. Like all that. To me, it's cool. I especially love whenever there's a world that exists within our real world, because I feel like that it makes you feel almost kind of extraordinary a little bit. Like if you put yourself in the perspective of the main character, you feel like, oh, that could happen to me. I could be a wizard and go to Hogwarts, because it's like still within our world, but it's like a separate. I love world building though.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Well, anything that's like gives the underdog like a chance to be somebody,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah.
Yeah. What about you? What's is there a movie?
I mean, my favorite movie is Interstellar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As well. Anything Nolan does.
Yeah.
Inception broke my brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need
Yeah.
to watch that again because it's been a long time. Because every time I've watched it, I'm like that and what's the reverse one he did?
Tenet.
Tenet.
yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
had to watch that like 3 times and I still don't understand it.
Inception was so ahead of its time.
Yeah.
I mean, it even stands
Yeah.
even now. But like I remember whenever we saw that, just being like, every time you think you know where it's going, you're like, wait, like
Yeah.
you have to like reel it back in.
Yeah, it's to me that's a perfect movie too. Both of
Yeah.
those,
Yeah.
both that and Interstellar are just like flawless.
Yeah.
But there are other movies smaller movies that really transform me. Sunset Limited, which is it's a film. It just has only Samuel L. Jackson and Tommy Lee Jones.
Oh wow.
And it's all told. It's kind of like a play. It's all told in one room.
Cool. I
And-
love films like that.
Yeah, and the whole thing, and it's basically an argument for and against God.
Oh wow.
So it's kind of like the
Need to
Screwtape
add
Letters.
that
If
to
you
our
ever
list.
have,
Yeah.
listen to that. It's kind of like that, but it's not Satan, and an angel arguing or talking. Or a demon and an angel. It is just a believer and a non-believer, and you as whether you're a believer or not, you're like, oh, I see a good point there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, that's a good point there, or whatever. And if you want a masterclass in acting,
Yeah.
just put those two guys in a room,
Yeah.
give them a conversation to have, and then
Yeah.
wait
Let it-
an hour and a
yeah,
half, and
yeah.
it'll blow your mind.
Yeah.
So like that's another one. So like the smallest and then the
Yeah.
biggest,
Yeah.
and then in between you got stuff like The Secret Life of Walter
Yeah.
Mitty, and we talked about it today. I talked about it with Oz, but the Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen
I need
that.
to watch
Is-
that. It's on my list.
It is. I mean, it just asks the question of if you're in a relationship that ends, would you, knowing that it ends, do it again?
I think about that a lot.
Yeah.
Like I said before, like losing my dad, we were very close, like very, very close. And I think about friends and like our relationship and stuff. And it's like, is it worth it to love someone knowing you're going to lose them or they're going to lose you one day?
Yeah.
Like, is it worth like all the good times and happy memories that you have?
Yep.
I need to watch
Well,
that film.
I was gonna say that's
It's
so much.
emotional.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna say
I
that's
cry
a
every
really
time.
deep, like, because people. I mean, we've talked about like it's like what's the alternative?
Yeah.
Like you never let anyone get close and live in a bubble and just
Yeah.
like never love or be loved by anyone, just to to protect yourself from pain, because
Yeah.
like to love is to experience one day heartbreak or
Yeah.
pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was my wife's favorite movie too.
Really?
And she doesn't watch a whole lot of
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah.
So like,
okay, that's definitely yeah.
I'm going to put that on the list.
It's
Yeah.
it's still today, and it's Jim Carrey at his best.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
When Jim Carrey in dramatic roles is way better
Yeah.
than him in funny roles.
I
to
agree.
me.
Yeah, we. I mean, it was kind of dramatic, but we just watched Truman Show.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, recently.
Yeah.
The best moments of that movie
Yeah.
are when he's real.
Yes.
Yeah.
When he's not playing the Jim Carrey
Yeah.
character.
Yeah.
When he's real, and it's so good. And I think that the reason is because he knows when he's playing a character.
Yeah.
He talks about that all the time. Like when you see interviews, he's like, no, I've been a character for so long. I just didn't want to be a character
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
And so when he has a chance to not be that character, he just
It's such a unique. Yeah.
Yeah.
takes it. And this Eternal Sunshine does that. It
Yeah.
like gives him that platform.
I want
to
to
do.
watch that.
Yeah.
I love
You'll
Jim
love
Carrey.
it. You'll love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And Chazelle, I think
Damien.
Damien Chazelle. Oh, what a director!
I know.
To have the vision of this movie, and you'll see when you see it, it will.
Is he the one that made that?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes, dude.
So when did it come out?
Oh, early 2000s.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it will blow your mind
Huh.
from a filmmaker perspective, and I mean from a production perspective
Yeah.
too,
Yeah.
because they have to convey what somebody is feeling visually.
Yeah.
They don't ever tell you, but like if he's losing a memory,
love that.
things
Yeah.
happen.
That
Yeah.
was my like
how do you visually show that somebody's losing a memory?
Yeah.
Like
That's, I mean, not to that level, but like that's what I wanted to practice with Glow, between you and
The subtext.
Yeah.
Or like the character development, the story within the story.
yeah, like how do I tell this relationship is strained without having like a flat out "you're never around" type argument,
Yeah.
you know? And I think like leaving that space for the audience to figure it out for themselves is what keeps attention and what like makes a great movie.
Yeah.
and I feel it too.
Yeah.
It's like where it's in the camera placement, it's in the lighting. She's backlit when she comes through the door. You
Yeah.
know, I'm sitting there, I got mess behind me.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
we're completely separated
Well,
on
you
separate
helped
parts of the
bring
room.
that to life, even with your little subtle, like your body language and your like expressions. Like the times that you didn't speak, you were almost like speaking more than the times that you were speaking. You
Remember, your script was longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all
Yeah.
pulled so
I
many
had a lot
lines.
I had a lot of lines. I was like, I don't
I
know
don't
what to
say
say
that.
all
And
this.
I remember you
Yeah.
said like, I want to cut it. I was like, please, I want as few words in this as possible
Yeah.
because as humans, we don't communicate 100% of what we're thinking. We're like, if you asked, oh, did you like your dinner? You're like, yeah. You know, like, and
But that's a
That's saying a
completely
lot
different.
without saying a lot.
Yeah. It's a
and that's how
different
we
reaction.
communicate.
Yeah.
And so to get that across in an actor, that's everything. That's how
and
you feel
seeing
real.
that on a page, like a black and white piece of paper, like if you write, "Did you like your dinner?" like in quotes, like so and so says this, and then, period.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Yeah.
Like, how do you let? I mean,
Uh-huh.
that's the writer's job to make sure that the emotion is being portrayed. But it's like, how do you let someone know? It's not just it's not excited.
There's a lot behind
There's a
it.
lot behind
Yeah.
it, you know, and that's like the joy.
Well, that was the graciousness
Yeah.
in like you allowing me. Let me just say, I know we've been talking a long time. We can stop
it's
whenever you
okay.
want.
This is
Yeah.
amazing.
But like, thank you for the platform.
yeah.
I don't get to act a lot.
Yeah.
I don't. And I think I saw it recently. Like a shift happened when I stopped looking at like auditions as I hope they want me, and like, oh, I get a chance to act.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get a chance to like take some black and white on a page and actually
bring it to
put it
life.
into bring it to life.
Yeah.
And that's all you want as an actor or as
Yeah.
a creative is a chance to like do your thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not from, yes, I could write something and then make it and stuff, but that's different than somebody else entrusting me
Yeah.
Yeah.
to then make this real.
Yeah.
And you know,
And so-
if you get the role, then it's not. I've learned this just from doing it. It's not that you're good or bad. It's
Are you right?
are you right for the role?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and you know, like, okay, they see me as right for this role.
Yeah.
So you can take the pressure off of trying to act.
Yeah.
It's like I am this character.
And not take it personal if you don't get the role.
Yeah,
for something,
Right.
You
Yeah.
know.
Because I've seen this too. They want you to be good.
Yeah.
Everybody in a room that when you go in an audition, they want you to be the guy or
Yeah.
the girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you are that person until you convince them you're not.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
And if
So-
you're not, it's not like you
not
said,
like you're
it's not like
bad.
you're not good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just that like, no, someone else might be a better fit for this character.
Right.
Yeah.
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 or you might be bad.
well,
You could be that. Yeah.
or they just don't like you.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're not, you know.
But
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
you get to a certain level in the audition or whatever, and it's like it's not about. It's like, do I believe this person is this character? And sometimes there's nothing you can do
Yeah.
to like act it out. It's
Yeah.
just like in your DNA
Yeah.
almost.
Well, and if I'm not booking things or going on auditions and you write a script, you want to make a movie and you want me to be in it, I'm over the moon, you know,
Yeah.
like it's, I get to do this thing that I love
Yeah.
with people that I love and respect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll do any movie
Yeah.
you want to make.
Oh,
And-
Yeah,
Yeah.
that means everything.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I know you were saying, like, thank you for giving me the platform, but I mean, thank you for bringing the character to life.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
like, it wouldn't, I mean, clearly, like,
It wouldn't.
be.
Every time I show someone that film, they always compliment the acting first.
Yeah.
Sweet.
They're like,
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Man,
Yeah.
That's great.
Especially like in the truck scene, they're like, man, he's good.
Yeah.
Like, because you say so much without saying
Yeah.
anything. And that's
awesome,
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great to hear, and it gives me life too. You know, to
Yeah.
keep going, keep doing
Yeah.
stuff, and yeah.
Got to.
So-
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing a lot of stuff together.
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
I'm determined to have.
like we said in the beginning,
Yeah.
we've got a lot up up our sleeves.
I want Todd to be. I'm writing literally a feature, like again for Todd, like as the main character because we both have a similar. He's way more successful than me in music, but like background
Musical
and
background,
in music, and I've always wanted to write a feature around a musician. So that's like number one on my radar, and
coming soon.
Yeah, all the music too.
Coming
Even if we
not
can't get him
soon,
down
but-
here for.
I currently am not employed, so you better go quick.
So whoever's listening to
You better write quick.
listening to this, if you're making a movie, call Todd. He's got time.
Yo.
Yeah.
I got time right
Yeah.
now.
Just don't book him when we need him.
No.
You're right.
I'm
Yeah.
just kidding.
Yeah. So where can people find you?
So I have a YouTube channel called Mad Valley. I am on TikTok, and
Yes.
I am on all the Instagram, all the things, and I put out music here and there. I have a record out that I put out last year, and then the little music things that I do now, and I'm trying to get more scoring gigs and stuff like that. And
Cool.
yeah. So,
Awesome.
Nice.
This was amazing.
Yeah. Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
guys.
yapping
I
about
know
movies.
this kind of had no structure, but it's just fun to talk movies.
It is, yeah.
I could
And
literally
acting.
talk movies all day.
I
Yeah.
know. Also, go listen to Todd's podcast.
Yeah.
Yes,
Todd
that's
and
what I
Wes have a podcast,
Yeah.
and it's called
The Pestle.
The Pestle.
Pestle podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they literally talk movies.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's amazing.
That's
Yeah.
it. We don't worry. We give spoiler alerts and everything
Yeah.
beforehand.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Yeah, it's
You know?
I love listening to it because I don't have a lot of friends here that love movies like I do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it feels like I'm like hanging out with y'all, like listening
man.
to movies.
Yeah.
So
and
go-
we need to have you on.
Yes.
Both
Oh,
of you
yeah,
guys.
that'd
We
be
need to
great.
have y'all on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now that you're like in contact with Wes and you talk to him more often,
Yeah.
like just tell us the movie that you want to talk about,
Yeah.
and we'll do it.
Yeah. Cool.
And we'd like to talk about movies in a way that's like from a loving place.
Mm-hmm.
So even if it's a movie that we don't like,
Yeah.
we find good about it.
Right.
Yeah.
And,
You don't rip it.
because there's like
Yeah.
hundreds of people that work on movies.
Oh
Yes,
yeah, we
yeah.
always say that.
And-
like,
Yeah.
nine-
We always sit through the credits and we're like, it doesn't matter like how, I don't even want to say a movie's ever like good or bad, but like whatever the
Result
Rotten
is.
Tomatoes score
Oh,
is,
right,
that we
yeah.
are like sit through the credits and we're like, people worked so hard on this and
Yes.
they like deserve,
You know what's fun is we do too. Anytime I go to the movies, like with my kids or my family, we sit through the credits
Oh, I love that.
and we look for our names.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
really? That's
Yeah.
a fun game.
That
That's
is
And we
fun.
call them out. So
Yeah.
like we'll
Yeah.
be the last people
We're
in the
like,
theater.
"There's-
Like there's a Simon, there's a Charlotte. You know,
That's
we
cool.
call it
Cool.
out. We made a game out
Yeah.
of it.
It's super rare. Every once in a while I'll see a Kirby, but it's
Yeah.
hard to find a Kirby.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I saw one in some of the credits
Yeah,
today.
That's what he said.
Yeah, I saw one. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that though.
That's really cool. We'd love to be on your podcast.
Yeah.
We'll find a movie and
Okay.
we'll go and,
Yeah.
and talk, break it apart.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Sounds
But-
great.
Good deal.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah.
And thanks for coming on. Thanks for flying down here.
Yeah.
And
Anytime.
we're going to get you back on soon.
Yeah.
Let's do it.